not concerned about something. I'm concerned about
Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Complete karo. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So we have been discussing on the types of gurus, Diksha gurus, Shiksha gurus, and also we've been discussing about the Parampara system and the importance of sticking to the Parampara, presenting the message of the Parampara as it is. So when Krishna is saying that Devarampara praptamim rajashiva sakala nihi mata yogo nashparantapa. By the passage of time, the parampara has been broken. So that could happen at any point of time if one doesn't properly represent the teachings of the parampara and continue the teachings of the parampara, then the parampara could be broken. So therefore, very important that we present the teachings of the parampara as it is. Also, an important point we have been discussing about how, especially in our Gaudiya Vaishnava, that how the emphasis is being laid on Shiksha as an integral and important part of Diksha, because that's what continues the parampara. It is the Shiksha which continues the parampara. And so therefore, sometimes we do find within our ISKCON scenario that devotees, we do accept that it is natural, and we do accept that a foundational source of inspiration for a disciple is the Diksha Guru. And sometimes we do find that devotees tend to find their sole source of shelter and inspiration as the Diksha Guru alone, which could sometimes not be healthy for a disciple's progress in devotional service. Sometimes it has been observed that disciples If they're congregation devotees, then they tend to come to the temple only when their Diksha Guru comes. Mm. Or devotees tend to hear only their Diksha Guru. Mm. And not hear anyone else. Mm. So though we do appreciate that sort of attachment, but at the same time, we understand that we are in a family of Vaishnavas. And so it's relationships and dealings with different Vaishnavas and learn to derive multiple inspirations. That's healthy. The example is sometimes given that even in a biological family, a child derives different levels of affection and nurturing from different family members. We don't know how much that applies in the current nuclear family scenarios, but especially in previous joint family scenarios, a child would derive um, nourishment, affection, and love from different family members. There is a different type of relationship with mother, father, uncles, and nephews and nieces and cousins. And so there are different types of relationships. And those different types of relationships nourish the child physically, emotionally, and that helps in the overall growth of the child, overall healthy growth of the child. And so similarly, in the family of Vaishnavas, that sort of healthy relationships are very conducive to spiritual progress. And so therefore, it's not very healthy to be very narrow-minded and just think I and my Diksha Guru and the rest of the world has no meaning to us. That's not very healthy. But then understanding the importance of Shiksha and how from different Vaishnavas we can derive different levels of inspiration, different angles of vision to understanding the philosophy and application of that philosophy. So therefore, having healthy relationships with a multitude of Vaishnavas and appropriate dealing with them is important for the overall growth of a disciple. Okay. On that note, we would like to begin the third lesson. Srila Prabhupada is ISKCON's founder Acharya. As we were discussing, Krishna comes into this world as he describes in the Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijami. So Krishna appears, srijami. Srijami means he appears in this verse at regular intervals for the purpose of reestablishing dharma. Whenever there is dharma glani, whenever there is decline in religious principles, then Krishna appears in order to establish. And for that same function, sometimes Krishna also sends his empowered representatives. So these empowered representatives are Krishna's chosen ones, specially meant to execute his will and his mission on this earth. And so therefore, they are very special. The Acharyas have referred to these special personalities who institute begin of Sampradaya as the Adi Gurus, the Adi Guru. And we have the four Vaishnava Sampradayas. Which are they? Okay. So, and we have four principal or acharyas within these four sampradayas. So just like within the Brahma Madhva Sampradaya, the prominent acharya is Madhvacharya. Within the Sri Sampradaya, the prominent acharya is Ramanuja. Within the Nimbarka, within the Kumar Sampradaya, the prominent acharya is Nimbarka Swami, and the Rudra Sampradaya, the prominent acharya is Vishnu Swami. So these are very prominent acharyas within these, almost like the founding acharyas. Though of course we know there are the original direct beginners of the sampradaya directly from Krishna, that is Brahmaji, Lakshmiji, Lord Shiva, and the four Kumaras. But yet we have these four acharyas as very, very prominent acharyas within four sampradayas. And so therefore they play a very important and vital and very unique role within that sampradaya. So then the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, as Srila Prabhupada mentions in his purports in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that one of the branches of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya tree of Sampradaya is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So it's one of the branches. And yet, understanding that Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya of this branch gives him a very unique and special position. The Sansthapak Acharya or the founder Acharya. So even though there could be so many empowered Vaishnavas within that Sampradaya, but still these Acharyas are very, very special, specially sent by Krishna himself to execute Krishna's will in this world. That is the very unique position of the founder Acharya. An Oxford Dictionary meaning of a founder Acharya or a founder, one to give a basis or firm support to ground in a subject of instruction, to set up or establish for the first time an institution as a provision for its perpetual existence. So we find that Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Prabhupada, they have given some important principles or understanding of the founder Acharya, which Shriram Maharaj writes in his book. So he mentions 4 points. If you're interested, you can note them now. So based upon Bhaktivinoda Thakur's teachings and Srila Prabhupada's teachings, These are four essential points regarding the founder Acharya. The first point he says is, the founder Acharya is the compulsory Shiksha Guru for his followers. The founder Acharya is the compulsory Shiksha Guru for his followers. Second point, his followers should understand his teachings and be faithful to them. His followers should understand his teachings and be faithful to them. Third point, his followers should not revert to the teachings of any other teacher or Vaishnavas who are not his followers. His followers should not divert to the teachings of any other teacher or Vaishnavas who are not his followers. And the fourth point, all gurus succeeding him, whether Shiksha Gurus or Diksha Gurus, all gurus succeeding him, whether Shiksha Gurus or Diksha Gurus, derive their authority from the founder Acharya through allegiance to his teachings. I repeat, all gurus succeeding him, whether Shiksha or Diksha Gurus, derive their authority from the founder Acharya through allegiance to his teachings. Allegiance means loyalty, fidelity to his teachings. And so therefore, ISKCON's GBC has passed a definitive statement regarding the position of Srila Prabhupada. Read, please.
Prabhupada has a unique relationship with every ISKCON devotee.
Where are you reading from?
As the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, and the preeminent teacher and ultimate authority within our society, Srila Prabhupada has a unique relationship with every ISKCON devotee.
Yes, unique relationship with every ISKCON devotee. So in that context, you could see, I think so, this is page number 66 of your handbooks. So the GBC statement on the position of Srila Prabhupada. This is the statement that they passed as a resolution. And of course, then in fact, they had started a separate committee called as the Srila Prabhupada Committee. And after an in-depth study, they together, but prominently that a book was compiled by Ravindra Swarup Prabhu. So you can find it on the ISKCON GBC website. The book, which has been published as the official book of ISKCON's GBC, compiled by Ravindra Swarup Prabhu on Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya, very authoritatively and scripturally establishing Srila Prabhupada as the founder Acharya of ISKCON for all time to come, as long as ISKCON exists. And so that book is actually very important for all ISKCON devotees to read. And so we request you, it would be very good if you can read that book, which establishes Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya. But in any case, at least I think so, we should read this statement here. So somebody can read this, please.
Whereas there is a need to clarify within our society by a sufficient statement Srila Prabhupada's preeminent position in relationship to Diksha and Shiksha Gurus as well as all ISKCON members, and to provide clarity on the function and position Diksha and Shiksha Gurus in the ISKCON society. Resolved that GBC endorses the following statement. As the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness ISKCON and the preeminent teacher and ultimate authority within our society, Srila Prabhupada has a unique relationship with every ISKCON devotee. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the original Guru, whose divine grace descends through the medium of the Guru Parampara.
Okay, so as we were discussing this point in the morning also, so Krishna is the original deliverer, and it is his mercy which descends through the medium of the Guru Parampara. Okay.
As such, a devotee is ultimately delivered by Sri Krishna, acting through a combination of various manifestations of his mercy. These include, but are not limited to, the Chaitya Guru, Srila Prabhupada, the Guru Parampara, one's Diksha Guru, other Shiksha Gurus, the holy name, Shastra, and the 9 processes of devotional service. Within these cooperative elements, Srila Prabhupada, as the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, is the preeminent Shiksha Guru for all members of ISKCON for all generations are encouraged to seek shelter of Srila Prabhupada. All members of ISKCON are entitled and encouraged to have a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada through his books, teachings, service, and his ISKCON society.
Okay, so all members of ISKCON. So it's not limited to disciples of Srila Prabhupada or something like that, but all members for all time to come are encouraged to seek shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Go ahead.
All members accepting leadership roles within ISKCON, including Diksha Gurus and Shiksha Gurus, have the duty of serving together under ISKCON's governing body commission, GBC, to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's instruction as he has given in his books, lectures, and personal communications. Overall, the primary duty of all Diksha Gurus, Shiksha Gurus, and other in leadership positions is to assist Srila Prabhupada in his service to his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Those who accept the service of Diksha Guru or Shiksha Guru in ISKCON are required to be exemplary in representing Srila Prabhupada's teaching in their words and personal behavior. The Shiksha Guru gives spiritual instruction and inspiration on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Parampara. The Diksha Guru gives spiritual instruction, inspiration, formal initiation, a spiritual name, and later imparts the sacred Gayatri mantra to a qualified disciple as a service to Prabhupada and our Guru Parampara.
Okay, so you can see that the Shiksha Gurus and Diksha Gurus, they're all performing their services on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, or as, yes, in the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, go ahead.
Srila Prabhupada has clearly explained that devotees who are strictly following the Krishna conscious principles are acting on the liberated platform, and as such are pure devotees, even though they may actually not yet be liberated.
Okay, that point also we discussed. That devotees who are strictly following The Krishna conscious principles are acting on the liberated platform. They're pure devotees, even though they may not actually be liberated. So that's Shastric. That's a Shastric statement which the GBC is putting forth here. Hmm.
Such unalloyed devotional service is not necessarily determined by one's roles or position of service, but by one's realization.
Hmm.
Those who accept the service of Diksha or Shiksha Guru within ISKCON are mandated be strict followers of the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, and as long as they follow, they are acting on the liberated
Okay,
platform.
so that point also we discussed in the morning. As long as they follow, they are acting on the liberated platform. The moment they don't follow, what happens? What happens? Yes, the connection is lost. So the connection is there as long as the instructions are being followed, and then they are on the liberated platform. Okay.
Thus, they may serve as Srila Prabhupada ordered, as bona fide representatives of the Lord and the Guru Parampara, and be a via media of their mercy. Yet, it should be clearly understood that if such Diksha or Shiksha Gurus deviate from strictly following, they may fall down from their position. Thus, to act as a Diksha Guru in ISKCON means to serve under the GBC and in cooperation with other ISKCON authorities by functioning as a regular Gurus as Srila Prabhupada has directed. This statement, while conclusive, is not exhaustive in its discussion of these principles. The GBC may authorize additional statements and papers in the future to further explain the preeminent position of our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, the role and responsibilities of those who serve as gurus in our society, and the related duties of ISKCON members and initiates. Resolved. All GBC members must distribute this resolution to all ISKCON temples, communities, and congregations via appropriate means of communication for the education of all ISKCON members. The statement shall also be studied in ISKCON courses, including introductory courses, the ISKCON disciple course, the spiritual leadership seminar, being a guru in ISKCON, and other relevant venues. Reading this statement and affirming it has been read prior to initiation shall be part of the test of all prospective initiates. More details on these spiritual relationships and duties may be found in the official Harmonizing ISKCON's Lines of Authority paper approved by the GBC in 2012.
Okay, fine. Okay. So now the question is, having established Srila Prabhupada's position as the preeminent Shiksha Guru for everyone within ISKCON. So there's a question here on page number 20. List some ways Srila Prabhupada functions as ISKCON's founder Acharya. What are some of the ways in which Srila Prabhupada functions as ISKCON's founder Acharya? So what's he doing, or what has he done which establishes him as ISKCON's founder Acharya? Somebody would like to write, please? Okay. Yes.
Srila Prabhupada's books and the lectures are the main sources of all the knowledge which we study.
Okay, fine. So Srila Prabhupada's books and lectures. Okay, so he's given us, basically you can write the philosophical teachings. You can say the philosophical teachings which he has given through his books and lectures. So Srila Prabhupada, he very solidly established the Krishna conscious philosophy. Yes, bro.
He established the institution in ISKCON under which we all get together.
That's correct. That's correct. He's the founder. So, but then how? What are the ways in which he functions? Yes, bro.
He gives the process by which we are following and
okay, fine. The devotional process. Yes, has given us the devotional process, the practical methods by which one can progress. What else?
He has given us practical ways to execute devotional service. Like,
well, that's the same point.
and he has given the uninterrupted teachings of the previous acharyas.
Okay, okay, those 2 points covered already. Yes, bro.
His struggle, sacrifices, and hard work to make ISKCON such big society and to bring us in.
No, that's correct. That's what he did to establish. But how does he now function as the founder Acharya?
He established the GBC. GBC is ultimate.
Okay, governing structure. Yes, the governing structure. He gave us governing structure. What else? Yes, bro.
He follows his Guru's Maharaj's instruction as it is about his time. Try to fulfill his desires.
Okay, okay, that's correct. But now how does he function?
All current leaders are following his teachings.
Okay, okay, fine. So yes, current leaders follow his teachings. That's correct. Yes, bro. Yes. So how is he functioning in that capacity?
Through his books, audio tapes, and
Okay,
letters.
that's the first point. Somebody else?
Everybody's bowing down to him.
Needless to say. Yes, bro.
We offer Guru Puja to Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, okay, fine. So you could say yes, worshiping Srila Prabhupada, worship Srila Prabhupada, yes. Huh? Okay, how?
Because everyone following him, so the ISKCON is running.
Okay, okay, fine. So that's following his teachings, huh?
Like everyone is following his instruction, like chanting 16 rounds and following 4x.
Okay, so that's the process of which he is given.
He gave us temple.
Yes, temples. And who are in the temples?
Deities.
Yes. So there is, so established temples, deities, and along with the deities,
The standard of worshipping.
yes, the standard of worship. That's good. So establish temples, deities, and standards of worship. Yes, Abhinav.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that my Senapati Bhakta will come. And also the prediction of Sri Nityananda Prabhu that Prithivite Yachata Nagarati.
Yes, right. That's the prediction. But how does he function as the founder Acharya now?
Prabhupada then pulled all these predictions and instructions all over the world. He spread this movement.
That's correct. That's correct.
Take this mantra to take us back to Godhead because he said that the 16th round, then.
Okay. Huh.
He established BBT and started book distribution all over the world.
Okay, so books have been sort of covered, right? Where were the books? Okay, the philosophical teachings. Yes, the philosophical teachings. And
As per GBC, that which are under the Prabhupada teachings. So wherever the ISKCON is mentioned, Prabhupada as a founder Acharya should be there, one thing. And any of publication there, Prabhupada name should be mentioned.
yes, this is an important point. He is the legal figurehead of ISKCON.
And even any poster which is
yes, that's right. Yes, that's
image
correct.
Or
yes, that's correct.
Prabhupada should be prominent there.
Yes,
not others. Yeah.
So since that point has come up, so we can read that on page number 66.
There are some questions online. Can we take
time for questions?
Answer.
Oh, okay. Answers. Okay. What?
given 7 M's of ISKCON.
Yes, that's a very important point. The 7 purposes of ISKCON. In fact, that should have been the first one. Unfortunately, it's coming at the end.
And
So-
we celebrate his appearance and disappearance day.
So somebody has got a source for the 7 purposes, some laptop somewhere. So we should read those 7 purposes. What's that?
We celebrate his appearance and disappearance day.
Okay, fine. Well, okay, worship of Srila Prabhupada. Under that, you just put appearance and disappearance.
Festival with enthusiasm like Rath Yatra, Nagar Sankirtan, book distribution.
So that's the process in general. That's correct. Yes. So at least, okay. Thank you, Prabhu. That's fine. At least, if not verbatim, at least we should know, first of all, that 7 purposes exist. It's a fact. Sometimes devotees within ISKCON don't know what are these 7 purposes. Srila Prabhupada gave these 7 purposes when? When did he give them? Yes, right at the time of incorporation of ISKCON. When? Anyone knows the exact date? Yes, that's right. If you can remember, it's very important. 13th July 1966. This was the incorporation day of ISKCON in New York. So right at that time, Srila Prabhupada gave the 7 purposes on which the entire institution is supposed to function on the basis of these 7 purposes for all time to come. Not for some time, but for all time to come. Okay, please read.
First, to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate all people in the teachings of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world.
Yes, so this is the first purpose where Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing spiritual education. So there's a right on the first purpose is emphasizing spiritual education.
Second, to propagate a consciousness of Krishna, God, as it is revealed in the great scriptures of India, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes, so consciousness, Krishna consciousness, consciousness of God as revealed in Bhagavad Gita.
Third, to bring the members of the society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, thus developing the idea within the members and humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead, Krishna.
Yes, so bringing the members together in a cooperative and unified way.
Fourth, to teach and encourage the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy name of God, as revealed in the teachings of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes, the emphasis on Harinam Sankirtan as given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Next.
Fifth, to erect for the members and for society at large a holy place of transcendental pastimes dedicated to the personality of Krishna.
Yes, temples.
Sixth, to bring the members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler, more natural way of life.
Yes, simpler, natural way like farm communities and so on.
And seventh, with a view towards achieving the aforementioned purposes, to publish and distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings.
Right. So these are the 7 purposes of ISKCON, and these should always be our foundation principles for all our activities. One should always see whether they're in line with these 7 purposes. And so, by establishing these 7 purposes, Srila Prabhupada has shown that yes, he is the founder Acharya, and his purposes which he has established need to be followed. So these are the ways in which Srila Prabhupada is functioning as the founder Acharya through his teachings, his institution, governing structure, with himself as the founder. Prabhupada himself personally emphasized that point, that on all books, everywhere, his name should be there as the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Right during his manifest presence, Srila Prabhupada made sure that this was done, because he knew that if this was not done, then the society would crumble after he left. So therefore, he made sure that it is done. And so similarly, established very systematically and very emphatically established the various standards of deity worship. ISKCON temples are definitely known throughout the world for deity worship standards, both in terms of punctuality, cleanliness, and so that's something which is very unique to our society, because Srila Prabhupada established those standards. Also, then included within those standards are also specific songs which are sung during the daily aartis. So everything, instructions on every aspect of devotional service and the functioning of ISKCON has been given by Srila Prabhupada. And I don't know how many of you know, but it's worth knowing. It's definitely there in folio. So there is a book called Shikshamrit. Some of you have seen Shikshamrit. There's a book called Shikshamrit, which has again been compiled by the GBC, where Srila Prabhupada's instructions on different subject matters, topic-wise, have been given. Worth reading again for ISKCON devotees. So, yes. Yes, so we're just going to read this on page number 66. So on page number 67, this somebody could read this. Founder Acharya foremost on ISKCON temple websites. Whoever might please read.
Founder Acharya foremost on ISKCON temple websites. Whereas numerous websites of ISKCON temples currently do not prominently feature the personality and teachings of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada as the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness on their homepage. Many do not have a picture of Srila Prabhupada at all. Few of them have links to Srila Prabhupada's books, tapes, and videos. Srila Prabhupada's preeminent position as the founder Acharya of ISKCON appears to have been de-emphasized on numerous ISKCON temple websites. On certain sites, ISKCON or Prabhupada only appear in the introductory pages in a very small, faint font, whereas currently there is no requirement that determines how Srila Prabhupada's photo and official title should be displayed on ISKCON Center websites. Resolved, that ISKCON Center officials shall be responsible to ensure that any and all websites published by the center prominently feature a picture of Srila Prabhupada on the introductory page. This picture should be larger than any other individual's photo, such as the GBC, center president, or guru. Srila Prabhupada should be addressed by his formal name and title. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, or ISKCON founder Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, or an equivalent translation. All such websites shall prominently display direct links that emphasize Srila Prabhupada on their homepage, such that the casual viewer would have access on the homepage to Srila Prabhupada's teachings and video recordings. The picture of Srila Prabhupada on the homepage, accompanied by his formal name and title, should be free from any other person's image. In other words, Srila Prabhupada's image should be the only personality in the photo or likeness. The fonts presenting Srila Prabhupada's name and title should be easily legible. All ISKCON Center websites should adhere to this standard no later than 3 months, 90 days, from passage of this resolution.
Yes. So that's how the prominence of Srila Prabhupada as the founder Acharya needs to be maintained. Hmm. Okay, there's a question here. So why should ISKCON followers maintain such exclusive loyalty to following Srila Prabhupada? Why? So we have said that yes, loyalty to Srila Prabhupada, keeping Prabhupada's position as the preeminent Shiksha Guru and the founder Acharya is very important. But why? Why should ISKCON followers maintain such exclusive loyalty to following Srila Prabhupada? Oh, okay, we can just maybe have a discussion. Okay, fine, go ahead.
So that the society does not fall apart, because when Prabhupada is given maximum emphasis, then ISKCON and Prabhupada are fountainhead of like ISKCON. Everything is like united. It does not fall apart.
Oh, fine. So maintain the unity and the proper structure of ISKCON, then yes, then establishing Srila Prabhupada's position is important. Good. Some other points? Yes.
Because Srila Prabhupada is the connecting link for us to Parampara of Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya.
Okay, fine. Okay, Srila Prabhupada acts as a connecting link in the Parampara. What else?
Purity of message should not be lost.
Okay, so that the purity of the message is not lost. Yes. What else? Huh?
It basically saves the movement from different divergence.
Okay, to prevent deviations, diversions, so for the loyalty to Srila Prabhupada, definitely important. Something more?
Like all the books and whatever instruction we are getting from Prabhupada, like in the form of books and instruction. They are GBC members is giving like, so if we don't have respect and loyalty to Prabhupada, then what will follow in ISKCON?
Okay, okay, so then there could be different diversions. Okay, what else? Why it's important to maintain the loyalty? So you could also add points regarding Srila Prabhupada's very special and unique position within the Sampradaya. Yes, Prabhu.
Srila Prabhupada is the like Senapati Bhakta, we know. So that is why we need to.
Okay, yes, he has been empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread his message all over the world. Yes, what else? Yes.
Because he's a representative of God. If we are loyal toward him, then we will be loyal toward the Lord also.
Okay, fine. So Krishna will be pleased if we are loyal to the Acharya.
Prabhupada also wanted to loyal to him, because like one conversation, like one incident with Bhakti Swami Maharaj and Prabhupada comes, that incident. So in that way, like we can say Prabhupada also wanted to loyal to ISKCON and to him.
Okay, fine. What else?
Srila Prabhupada has taken the responsibility of all the devotees to deliver them back to Godhead.
Okay, okay. Srila Prabhupada's position as founder Acharya is definitely there. Yes, Abhya.
Because Srila Prabhupada was loyal to his spiritual master. So
okay.
We should be loyal to him.
Okay, fine. What else? Others, some devotees who are not participating can kindly Not to speak.
Because of Srila Prabhupada mercy only we are.
Who's speaking? हाँ हाँ बोलो.
Yeah, because of Srila Prabhupada mercy only we are here. And we have came.
Okay, okay. So we are grateful to Srila Prabhupada for his contribution and for helping us.
We have to tell to Prabhupada because Prabhupada told at one moment that I have your qualification, you are not qualified.
Okay, okay. Prabhupada, yes, we have become self-qualified behind.
Yes, please, some answers are online.
हाँ बोलो.
Seven of them. They are saying society will be united forever.
Okay, the unity of society will be maintained.
Purpose of ISKCON which Srila Prabhupada created should not be dissolved.
Yes.
I don't know what he wants to say. Maybe a philosophical misunderstanding. I hope the term is now it's appearing like psychological or psychiatric misunderstanding.
Okay.
Nobody should
Philosophy.
claim to be the next Acharya falsely.
Hmm.
And Srila Prabhupada's pure devotee following him will purify.
Okay, okay, fine. Some good points. You have something?
As followers of ISKCON, if we are followers of ISKCON, then ISKCON is founded by Srila Prabhupada and it's running the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. So if we are claiming followers of ISKCON, then we should follow his teachings and instructions.
Yes, definitely. So because he's the founder Acharya, we need to follow him loyally so that ultimately Krishna is pleased. So as we were mentioning these points by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so it mentions there that when the followers follow the founder Acharya sincerely, loyally, then that's how they can make spiritual progress. So the Acharya is very dear to the Supreme Lord, and by following the Acharya sincerely, that's how we make progress. And of course, we also understand Srila Prabhupada's very unique position in spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world, transforming the hearts of thousands of people in a very unprecedented way, spreading Krishna consciousness. What happened? The connection, no connection, that's the problem. Poor connections. So we see Srila Prabhupada's okay, that's better. So we see Srila Prabhupada's very unique contribution in spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world, Rathipuras all over the world, in so many of the towns and cities, and transforming the hearts of thousands of people, establishing so many temples, communities, and restaurants, especially smashing Mayavad, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Pashatya Deshatadine. So we see very much unprecedented in the history of Vaishnavism, unprecedented achievements. And so therefore, by all these achievements of Srila Prabhupada, we understand Srila Prabhupada's very unique position, his very unique empowered position, empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Supreme Lord himself. And so therefore, understanding special position and understanding his contributions to our society and to our individual lives for our own spiritual progress, then we remain loyal to him. And by doing so, we can please Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara and ultimately the Supreme Lord. Okay, so the next question is then, so what would be some of the factors which could jeopardize the position of Srila Prabhupada as the founder Acharya? What could be some of the factors, some of the activities which would jeopardize? You understand the meaning of the word jeopardize? Or which could damage Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya. Yes, bro.
Hare Krishna. Like only following, only taking inspiration or shelter from one's own spiritual Diksha Guru.
Okay, so that if current, to put in a more general sense, so if putting current leaders in more prominent position over and above Srila Prabhupada's position, putting current leaders in a more prominent position over and above that of Srila Prabhupada would jeopardize Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya. And so, if that's what is done now, then that is what will continue in the future. So then in the future, the followers will also minimize the position of their leader. And that is what will continue. And then we don't know where the whole thing will land. So therefore, very important to always emphasize. Okay, what else? What are some of the other? Yes, Prabhu.
Reading different organization books.
Yes, not sticking to Srila Prabhupada's teachings. Not sticking to Srila Prabhupada's teachings. Therefore, yes, we're emphasizing the point. Yes, what else? What could damage Srila Prabhupada's position? Okay, not representing Srila Prabhupada properly. Yes. Yes, Samir.
Not highlighting Prabhupada on every festival and every big program.
Okay, not highlighting Srila Prabhupada during festivals, programs, or as we have been reading, websites, books, in all these places, not highlighting Srila Prabhupada's special position as the founder Acharya.
Not doing any activity for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, not keeping Srila Prabhupada's pleasure in the center.
Someone does any wrong thing in society or misusing them, then he can destroy the image.
Okay, not representing Srila Prabhupada appropriately.
Not worshipping Srila Prabhupada, like is not doing Guru and appearing disappearance day.
Okay, good. That's also a good point. Yes, worship of Srila Prabhupada not maintained. Okay, compromising the instructions. Yes, compromising the instructions which Srila Prabhupada has given.
Compromising the 7 purposes.
Yeah, compromising the 7 purposes. Yes.
The main this govern structure Prabhupada has given us. So if the governing structure, if they not follow the
Okay, not
Prabhupada
following
wanted-
the governing structure. Yes, that's also correct. Yes, so these are some of the ways by which the position of Srila Prabhupada could be jeopardized, could be damaged. And so therefore, yes, then the next question is, so as you see here, the question is there in your handbook on page number 21. What can be done to ensure that Srila Prabhupada remains ISKCON's founder, Acharya, and preeminent Shiksha Guru in the future? So this maybe you can just discuss with 3 or 4 devotees. You can discuss and come up with some points. What can be done to ensure Srila Prabhupada's position? So just take 3-4 minutes.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Somebody can write. Any of the volunteers to write? Only one person knows how to write here, huh? Okay, no problem. Is that a permanent marker or what? Write on this. Take that other pen. ठीक है, बोलो. Okay, some of the points. Okay, let's begin.
Encouraging about studying about Srila Prabhupada pastimes, Leela and other books.
Okay, good. Reading about Srila Prabhupada. Reading books about Srila Prabhupada. How many of you here have read the entire Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit 7 volumes? About five, 6. Not a very good number, huh? Just 5, 6 out of about 30 after 50 years of ISKCON. And of course, we do find the same scene everywhere. In fact, this is one question I ask everywhere, wherever I go. And everywhere we find the same poor response. So, if we don't know about our founder Acharya, how will we understand his mode and mission? And how will we act according to his desires? Then there'll be so much speculation. Maybe Prabhupada wanted this, maybe that, so much speculation. Nobody has read. So that's the basic book about Srila Prabhupada Leelam by Satsarup Maharaj. And after that, Prabhupada's disciples have written so many more books about Prabhupada's pastimes. But at least the basic book about Srila Prabhupada's pastimes, Leelamrit, should be read. In fact, we are thinking of making a compulsory course before as a prerequisite for Bhakti Shastri. And well, let's see. But then, whether it's compulsory or not, we should have the eagerness to know about our founder Acharya, who has sacrificed so much. We're here by his mercy. And we are not interested to know about it. Very unfortunate. So, we can try. Along with reading other books, we can also try to make this a part of our schedule to read something about Srila Prabhupada. This is how we can develop gratitude when we understand, when we read how much Srila Prabhupada has sacrificed to establish the society. Then we will develop some gratitude. Then that's how we will stick to the society. Okay, what else?
Whenever we organize any public program on behalf of ISKCON, then we should have some DT or photo of the Prabhupada and we should garland the DT.
Okay, fine. So a prominent display of Srila Prabhupada in public programs. ठीक है.
Keeping Srila Prabhupada's principal teachings of following for regulative principles in forefront
Okay, fine. Following his instructions, following Srila Prabhupada's instructions.
Celebrating important is related to Srila Prabhupada.
Celebrating what?
Important is related to Srila Prabhupada, like going to America. And,
Okay, so different festivals in connection to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, celebrating different festivals. Yes, Prabhu.
In any Guru Puja, Prabhupada's deity should be bigger than the Guru for what we are celebrating Guru Puja. And it should be above that Gurus.
You're talking about Vyas Puja or what?
Vyas Puja, sorry, Vyas Puja.
Okay, fine. Okay, that point comes a little later in our further lessons on presenting one's own guru. So that point will come.
Once in a week, Prabhupada lecture in all the temples so that all devotees together hear Prabhupada.
Yes. So hearing Prabhupada's lectures, reading Srila Prabhupada's books regularly. So both individually and collectively. So in temples, yes, playing Prabhupada's lecture at least once a week. And of course, it doesn't mean we hear also individually once a week. Individually, we can hear more than that. If possible, on a daily basis. In some temples, actually, and some temples, and quite a few temples, actually, Srila Prabhupada's, the day of Prabhupada's lecture is fixed. And that cannot be substituted by anyone else on that day. That's the respect we offer to Prabhupada. Even if a sannyasi is there in the temple, no. Nobody else gives class on that day. If a particular day is fixed for Srila Prabhupada, then that is fixed, irrespective of whoever is there. This is a standard which is followed in some temples, like you go to east of Kailash, Punjabi Bagh. So some of these temples absolutely fixed, I suppose even Ravan. So it doesn't change. It's the respect we offer to Srila Prabhupada. Not that Prabhupada becomes a cheap substitute. I was in one temple, I won't take any names, but I was in one temple, and sorry for keeping you waiting for a minute. A devotee's name was announced for the Bhagam class, and that devotee had some stomach upset, whatever. So then he told the authorities, I cannot give class today. Okay, fine. So then they fixed Prabhupada's class. So, okay, they fixed Prabhupada's class. And so 8 o'clock, time for class. They made preparations for Prabhupada's class. The mic was kept in front of Srila Prabhupada's deity. And just at the time when the class was about to begin, the devotee who was supposed to give class walked in. And the authority there asked him, so would you like to give class? And the devotee said, yes, I think so, I can give. And so the authority said, okay, give class. And then they took the mic from Srila Prabhupada and they were going to give to this devotee. Just see that. This is the respect to the founder Acharya. Mhm. Of course, we did something about it. So the point is that if that's the respect that's given to the founder Acharya, now what do we expect in the future? Huh? And how Krishna going to be ever pleased with our devotional service if that's the respect that we give? So Srila Prabhupada just can't become a cheap substitute. There's no one to give class. Prabhupada, put Prabhupada, or just here and there. That's not the respect to the founder Acharya. He has a unique position, a very unique position, as we already described, specially sent by the Supreme Lord himself. Very important to understand this. If we don't respect the founder Acharya, forget it. There's no question of pleasing Krishna. Anyways, in that connection, so actually just on Prabhupada appearance day, there's a GBC paper on maintaining and worshipping Srila Prabhupada's deity. I don't know how many of you have seen that. There's an official GBC paper. So maybe I'll send it to Hari Kripa Prabhu, maybe. I'll send it to you, you can circulate it. But there's an official GBC paper on Srila Prabhupada's worship and maintenance of the deity. So there are standards for all this. Most devotees don't even know that something like that exists. But then these need to be followed for our own progress. Okay, what else? Yes, Hari.
They are saying keeping Srila Prabhupada in center in all activities by strictly following his order and instruction.
Okay, following his instructions. So
As a person,
wait. Okay, reading books, following instructions.
As a
following his instructions strictly.
As a representative of ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada class once a week in temple.
Okay, so hearing Srila Prabhupada lectures. Okay, fine.
Compulsory Guru Puja every day.
Okay, so celebrating different festivals in connection to Srila Prabhupada. We're not talking about general festivals.
To be aware of all sacrifices Prabhupada did to set up ISKCON.
Yes.
And Prabhupada's books and book distribution.
Yes, so his instruction. You can write that. Distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. Wait, just on that point. Distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. Sometimes we find in book displays, book stalls, all books except Srila Prabhupada. We have actually seen some places you have to literally search, where can we find the Prabhupada's book? Maybe you need a torchlight or something. Pitiable situation, some places. So many other books we appreciate. Yes, devotees are writing so many books, but they don't become substitutes for Srila Prabhupada's books. The main display should be always Srila Prabhupada's books. They are the beacon lights for all time to come. Not that we put them in the background now, somebody else becomes more prominent. This is disastrous for our society. We can't allow that to happen. For all time to come, Srila Prabhupada's books should be in the forefront. That's how we respect him and highlight his position. What else?
Preaching message given by Srila Prabhupada.
This is again important. Preaching Srila Prabhupada's teachings, especially like in a Bhagavatam class. So actually one Prabhupada disciple wrote an entire article on this point, that when we speak, especially a Bhagavatam class, then we present what Srila Prabhupada has given. Not that we speak everything else except what Srila Prabhupada has given. Sometimes we find speakers, they speak from so many different places. Sometimes it is just hodgepodge. Just masala put together, some stories and some jokes from God knows from where. No mention about Srila Prabhupada, no reference to Srila Prabhupada, nothing. So that Prabhupada disciple, he wrote in that article that when the Bhagavad class is spoken, then people should be reminded of Srila Prabhupada and his teachings. Not that I put myself in the center as the prominent figure and speak my own stuff. That's not the way. So in all classes, for that matter, in all classes, it is Prabhupada's teachings that we present. That is what will maintain the purity of the message, the purity of the parampara. As we already said, that if we add, subtract, concoct, what's going to happen? It's Krishna's message then. It is my mental speculatory message, filled with so much of imperfections. So to the degree we maintain the purity of the message, to that degree our preaching will be effective. To that degree, there'll be transformation of hearts. Otherwise, we can have our own presentations with all the masala and this and that, and people will come, they will laugh and cry and clap and go back and do nothing about what has been said. No change of hearts. Do we want that sort of preaching? If that's what you want, then it's fine. Then you become the big hero and you get all the worship, and you can have your big displays of your photographs and have thousands of people falling at your feet. You can have all that if that's what you want. But if we are interested in pleasing the acharyas and Krishna, then we present the message as it is. And then, even though we have few numbers, but that's what's going to please the acharyas and that's what's going to please Krishna. So that should be the standard of our presentations. As Srila Prabhupada himself said, we should be like lawyers. Everything we speak, there must be a reference. And we quote from the acharyas. Okay, some more?
Emphasis of Srila Prabhupada book reading more than other books.
Okay, we read that. We wrote that, right? Reading.
Without adulteration and mixing our own thoughts in talks and classes. Following principles given by Srila Prabhupada without any amendments. Fixed.
Okay, following the instructions.
Fixed percentage of dedicated lectures, hearing and book reading Srila Prabhupada. Give first priority for teachings or spreading message for Srila Prabhupada. Leelamrit study should be compulsory done by all.
Yeah, we are.
Srila Prabhupada book distribution and FS reading. Class once a week. Start making Leelamrit certificate essential for every devotee, just like IDC course. Remembering
Good
Srila,
idea.
Srila Prabhupada desire and acting in that way, performing our activities according to desire of Prabhupada. All important events of Srila Prabhupada life should be celebrated in grand. Like
Yes, that's also important. Yes, that's appearance and disappearance days. Actually, we will come to that. There are GBC resolutions on that also. Not that our own Guru's puja is super grand, and when it's proper puja, then well, okay, that's not important. That's not the proper etiquette.
appearance, disappearance, going to West, ISKCON Foundation Day, Sanya Ceremony Day. Singing Guru Ashtakam, quoting Srila Prabhupada's view in our talk.
Yes, okay, good point. Something else? Huh?
I think GVC decision to be the final decision.
Okay, so loyalty.
But GVC should be the final decision authority. There should be.
Okay, you could say that loyalty to the governing structure. That's yes. So that means yes, loyalty to the governing structure and cooperation. Yes, those are also important points. Yes.
Organizing courses like IDC to clarify the Srila Prabhupada's position.
Yes. So training and education. Yes, bro.
Fulfilling the dreams of Prabhupada, like establishing universities and
what's that?
Publishing research paper and establishing universities for spiritual knowledge.
Okay, following his instructions, right? Yes, bro.
Prabhuji, we should put sufficient endeavors to spread the glories of Srila Prabhupada.
How?
Like we did here expression on festival.
Mm-hmm.
The sole purpose, like it was dedicated to Srila Prabhupada and to tell people more and more about the glorious personality of Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, fine. So festivals glorifying Srila Prabhupada.
Also.
Okay, of that slide. Anyway, fine. Okay.
We should try to fulfill 7 purposes of ISKCON.
Yes, fulfilling the 7 purposes. Okay, fine. So these are some of the ways we can ensure Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya. And yes, so strictly following all his instructions. For that, we should know what are his instructions. So therefore, by reading his books, conversations, letters, so then we come to know what are his instructions and then we try to follow them. Okay, thank you. Okay. Read this, please.
I also thank you very much for your appreciation of my book and letters, and for my speaking in the meeting. They are not my words, as I have repeatedly informed you that I am simply the bearer of the message from Lord Chaitanya through the disciplic succession, and I have not made any addition or subtraction. Similarly, if you all carry these words successively, then the transcendental parampara system will be exactly maintained and people in general will be benefited.
So Srila Prabhupada often said that, very humbly said that I'm not a great scholar or a big pandit or something like that, but my only qualification is that I simply repeated the words of my Guru Maharaj. That's the reason for the success. Okay, read this.
Mora Senapati Bhakta. Yadi papi chhadi dharma Dure deshe yaya mo senapati bhaktaya iba tathaya. If some sinful people escape and giving up religious principles go to far off countries, then my Senapati Bhakta will come at that time to give them Krishna consciousness. Senapati means military commander.
Yes, so that's the prediction that was given. And so we find that Srila Prabhupada's special position, and so therefore that loyalty to Srila Prabhupada is something very important. Okay, fine. Any questions on our discussion so far? Yes, Abhay.
Suji, my question is regarding the increasing number of books by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada and the increasing emphasis and the advertisement on world scale on those about those books, whereas we never find any advertisement or publicity about Srila Prabhupada books. And even now in ISKCON, the number of the books have increased more than number of Srila Prabhupada books. So how to, despite the increasing publicity of these books, how to be focused in Srila Prabhupada books?
That's what can be done individually and collectively. And that's something for the leadership to think about. But at least individually and within our own circles of influence, we can try to do that by keeping Srila Prabhupada's books in the forefront, both in terms of personal reading and distribution. So if each one of us takes that responsibility and sets the example, then that's what will spread. And so that's the purpose of this education and training, so that at least individually we try to do that. And if we try to do that individually, then others will take the example. Not that we follow the crowds like the sheep.
Okay. Second question is regarding this only. Like on YouTube, we are seeing that more and more motivational speakers and the YouTube speakers are increasing day by day. They don't tell anything about Srila Prabhupada or any Krishna conscious substance also is very minimal. And as we see the Prabhupada lectures on YouTube or some his disciples lecture, they are very. So, and the viewership of these motivational speakers is very, whereas viewership of Prabhupada lecture is very low. So is there any regulation from the JBC side so that
so who are the viewers?
The viewers are devotees as well as the new people.
So the devotees can first of all begin by viewing the right things.
So is there any regulation from?
No regulation. Everything need not be regulated. We have to learn the regulation. Why everything has to be, all regulations need to be imposed. We are supposed to be educated, become intelligent, and then act accordingly. Why everything needs regulation?
But this is a very
that's a very low level of motivation. Everything requires a stick. That's for the animals.
But this platform is very the outreach of this platform is very high.
Say, we don't care what others are doing. Let's find out what I am doing. Let's begin with myself. What am I doing? Mahatma Gandhi is saying, what's that?
Charity begins at home.
No. Hari Kripa Prabhu knows. What is that? Be the example. Be the change you want to see in others. So let's begin with ourselves. Then others could be influenced. Okay?
Truji, we see that many senior devotees, they are writing books. But we also see that Srila Prabhupada at many occasions he told that I have given everything in my books. So is there a need to write books?
As long as they are increasing our understanding of Srila Prabhupada's books and his philosophy, that's fine. But at the same time, they don't become substitutes for Srila Prabhupada's books. I don't know if you have heard, but at least I have spoken this example at many times. The example of Kadam Kanan Maharaj. You have heard that? Prabhu says, he's give him the mic.
He says, like, Prabhuji, when we take prasadam, then chapati, rice, sabji we take in full, and chutney we take in very small. So, like in similar way, the Srila Prabhupada books are like
The main meal.
main meal, and all other books are like chutney.
Yes. So reference books. Good. So all of the books can be reference books to help us understand Prabhupada's books or help us understand Srila Prabhupada's life and so on. But our essential basis for our reading should always be Srila Prabhupada's books, not for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. No. Just like the main meal always remains the same, or after 10 years, 20 years, it keeps changing. So similarly, the main focus of our reading and study needs to be always Srila Prabhupada's books. Yes, other books could be there, no problem. Let the devotees write. There's no harm in that. But then, as far as our reading is concerned, that should be the way. Chika? Okay, I think so. We'll proceed on to the next one. We are running short of time. Okay, so we're going to lesson 4. ISKCON Gurus. So having understood about the founder Acharya, now we go on to ISKCON Gurus. Sorry. Okay, somebody read this quote, please.
We should therefore live in such a way that we keep ourselves always healthy and strong in mind and intelligence, so that we can distinguish the goal of life from a life full of problems. A thoughtful man must act in this way, learning to distinguish right from wrong and thus attain the goal of life.
Yes, so a thoughtful man, he distinguishes what is right, what is wrong, and thus attains the goal of life. So thus, there's a question for you on page number 22. What do you consider is the appropriate attitude in general for an ISKCON guru, current and future, in regards to the teachings of Srila Prabhupada and the authority structure within ISKCON? So, the first part of the question. So what should be the attitude? What do you think should be the attitude of an ISKCON guru towards Srila Prabhupada's teachings? Yes.
He should have firm faith that Srila Prabhupada has given everything in his books, and we need not to refer any other organization.
Okay, good. Yes, he should have firm faith in Srila Prabhupada's teachings. Huh?
He should try to spread the teachings of Srila Prabhupada more.
Very good. Yes. So he himself follows that, and then he tries to spread that faith. Yes, bro.
Before teaching, if somebody is interested to take Krishna consciousness, he has to encourage him to read Prabhupada's books first.
Yeah, encourage people to read Prabhupada's books. Yes.
He should only repeat what Prabhupada has said, not by his own.
Okay. Yes, repeating Prabhupada's message.
He should he should quote the examples of Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, quoting examples, analogies, stories from Srila Prabhupada. So that's how we can make our lectures interesting. So sometimes devotees think that, Oh, Prabhupada only spoke some philosophy, not interesting. No, there were so many examples, analogies. Prabhupada's teachings are full of them, and so many stories Prabhupada has given. I don't know how many of you have seen a book compiled by one ISKCON devotee on Prabhupada stories. Anybody has seen? There's this devotee, what's his name? Who wrote the book? It's compiled by this devotee. I'm forgetting his name. But anyway, there's a book which has been compiled. It's available online also, I suppose. So hundred short stories of Srila Prabhupada. Of course, there are more than that actually, then at least. So yeah, so there are so many things that Prabhupada is given. So, okay, so that should be the attitude of ISKCON gurus towards the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. And the authority structure of ISKCON, what should be the attitude of the ISKCON gurus? Yes. Yes, follow the GBC and what else? Yes, that's right. So what should be the attitude of the ISKCON gurus? Okay, so following the instructions of the GBC, what else? So yeah, so then he follows himself and also encourages others to follow. Encourages us to follow, and then he also is in line with the decisions of the GBC, and so that should be the appropriate attitudes. Not that the guru thinks that well, that's not required, and then he's on his own. This could also be one important factor while selecting a Diksha guru. So a rough sketch about the authoritative structure within ISKCON. So we have Srila Prabhupada on the top, then there is the GBC, and then there are the various ministries and committees and all that. And further down, we have regional bodies. And then there are temple presidents, Namhata Bhakti Vriksha leaders, and ultimately the congregation of the disciples and temple residents. So like that. So there's the governing structure of ISKCON. And so therefore, then everyone needs to follow that governing structure. Okay, read this quote from Srila Prabhupada.
Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, at the time of his departure, requested all his disciples to form a governing body and conduct missionary activities cooperatively. He did not instruct a particular man to become the next Acharya. But just after his passing away, his leading secretaries made plans without authority to occupy the post of Acharya, and they split into two factions over who the next Acharya would be. Consecutively, both factions were asar or useless because they had no authority, having disobeyed the order of a spiritual master.
Okay, so Prabhupada has put this in the CC purports, that these factions of the Gaudiya Maths have become asar, useless, because of having disobeyed the instructions of the spiritual master. And so therefore, we find that Srila Prabhupada, right in the early days, right, almost 1970, that time itself, Srila Prabhupada had made his plans, and then he made the GBC, and later on we had Srila Prabhupada, he input the GBC, took part in GBC meetings and all that. And so because that was the instruction of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and because Srila Prabhupada followed that, so then we see that's the one of the important reasons for ISKCON still spreading and growing vibrantly even after Srila Prabhupada passed away from this world. And so just on that point, so therefore, as we were discussing about the position of the founder Acharya, nobody can replace that position of the founder Acharya. As long as ISKCON exists, then Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya and his teachings and the governing structure and all that should be in place. Then there'll be potency for the institution. When the instructions are not followed, then that's what happens. What happens? The connection is lost. And that's how everything becomes asar. There's no sar there. Useless. So therefore, the following the instructions becomes so vital. Please read.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself wanted our cooperation. He is the God Krishna, and therefore cooperation is very important thing. Nobody should think that I have got so great ability I can do. No, it is simply by cooperation we can do very big things. United we stand, divided we fall. This is our, so be strong in pushing on Krishna consciousness, and Krishna will help. He is the strongest. Still, we must be combined together.
Okay, so Prabhupada emphasizing cooperation. So, so what do you think are some of the advantages of ISKCON gurus remaining cooperatively within the ISKCON society? What are the advantages for the guru? If the guru remains within ISKCON society, cooperates with the governing structure, what do you think are advantages, benefits for the guru himself?
It's like a present situation. There are many disciples under one guru, like around more than 5,000, and it is very impractical to handle. So it becomes very easy, like if he is cooperating with many gurus. So
how does it help?
He cannot. Sometimes he cannot able to always look upon. Like he may having disciples in many places, but he cannot able to reach there always. So they can take inspiration from other gurus.
Okay, fine. So yes, so it helps him in because there's so many Vaishnavas within the whole society, then disciples can get guidance and inspiration from so many other Vaishnavas. And so he may not be available all the time, but then there are so many Vaishnavas available to help. What else? Is true?
Then Prabhupada that instruction.
Okay, fine. Prabhupada's instruction for cooperation will be followed, and that will please him. Yes, Samir.
They also get the company of their god brothers.
Yes, very good. Yes, the gurus also get company of their god brothers, other senior Vaishnavas. Okay, Hari Krishna.
This online devotees are writing. His god brothers are there to support them.
Yes.
And regard to authoritative structure within ISKCON, he should be accountable to authorities.
Yes, accountability to authorities. That also actually protects the gurus.
Get the association of the pure devotees. Accountable to authorities.
Okay, fine. Some other points.
His
Yes.
god brothers are support in difficult times.
Yes, the god brothers can support in difficult times. Yes.
It will prevent the deviation of the message because the guru is there in the company of other gurus. So the message will be in pure and in the parampara.
Yes, there can be a check and balance system. Check and balance system by being within the society. Then if there are tendencies for deviations, then there are other Vaishnavas to bring people track. Else? You know?
When the gurus are united, so the disciples, they will also see that our spiritual master is united. So even amongst the disciples, there will be unity, and they will get more nourishment by seeing the nice unity and cooperation amongst the gurus.
Yes, good point. Yes. So when the followers, when the disciples see good unity amongst the leadership, then that will inspire them to do the same.
When any spiritual master leaves this material world, then other spiritual, other gurus help give shelters to the.
Yes, that's also an important point. So that is from the point of view of the disciples. So when the guru is there within the ISKCON, and then if he happens to leave the body, or if he's very sick or something like that, then there are other Vaishnavas to take care of the disciples.
There will be a solid foundation in propagation of our Prabhupada's mission.
Okay, good foundation. Yes.
Preaching will happen more effectively.
Yes, more effective preaching. Why? Why do you think more effective preaching?
Like when there will be cooperation, then there will be no clashes. Like interest, like all people will cooperate together, and like if there is some idea from some person, the other is ready to help him.
Yes. Okay, good. So there's cooperation, more preaching.
If any spiritual masters, like if he falls down, suppose, then the movement will not fail.
Yes, that point has been made.
Online devotees writing, Guru disciple will get nourishment all over the through ISKCON center everywhere they go.
Yes, so yes, in all centers there are devotees. The devotees can get nourishment. So yes, so these are the benefits of the gurus remaining within ISKCON. So there's benefit for the guru himself. Also, the gurus get different preaching opportunities by being within the society. There are devotees who are preaching, bringing devotees, and then the guru also gets preaching opportunities, and also the gurus get different facilities within the society. So that's how, by being cooperative within the governing structure of ISKCON, remaining within ISKCON, then the guru is benefited, disciples are benefited. Everyone gets benefited by that cooperative moods. And for whatever reason, if a certain guru leaves ISKCON, so what should the disciples do? What should the disciples do? They should follow him. Yes, so follow the GBC, follow the authoritative structure. Not that one blindly follows the guru and also leaves ISKCON. No. So for whatever reason, the guru may have left, but then the disciples should remain within ISKCON and cooperate and take shelter of other Vaishnavas. That's the proper attitude. So, as Prabhupada wrote in the purport to Tadvidi Pranipatena, blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. So, we don't blindly follow. So, due to whatever reason, if the guru has left, then it's not that we blindly follow. Okay, read. Of course, we already did actually.
Those who accept the service of Diksha Guru or Siksha Guru in ISKCON are required to be exemplary in representing Srila Prabhupada's teaching in their words and personal behavior. The Siksha Guru gives spiritual instruction and inspiration on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Parampara. The Diksha Guru gives spiritual instruction, inspiration, formal initiation, a spiritual name, and later imparts the sacred Gayatri mantras to a qualified disciple as a service to Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Parampara.
Yes, so that these points were discussed before. So now the next point is, so we have the gurus who are our spiritual authorities, and we also have the managers of the society. So we have spiritual authorities and we have managerial authorities within the institute. And so sometimes we do see that happening practically, that sometimes the managers in a certain temple may want a devotee to do a certain service, and the guru may want the disciple to do a certain service. There's a possibility of conflicts. So how many experts are there here who can perform skits? Are there any experts? This is a very difficult question amongst Vaishnavas. Nobody wants to accept. Is anyone ready? Volunteer for yourself. Okay, so there are just 3, 4, huh? Mhm. Okay, why I'm asking this question is because here it says, perform a short sketch showing an appropriate way of dealing with a situation where the instructions given by one's local ISKCON authority differ from the instructions given by one's guru, and an inappropriate way of dealing with the situation. Is it possible for some of you to perform a skit? Okay, fine. So, well, who wants to take responsibility? Okay, fine, good. Go ahead. So we will give you 5 minutes to prepare. So you can pick and choose whoever you want and try to come up with these skits. Okay, fine. So we can take it as a 5-minute break time. For the others, it's a break. And for you, you can prepare the skit in 5 minutes and the others can relax. Okay? So after 5 minutes, 5 minutes, okay? So 7:30.
surrender.
Yes, recently I was reading one of the quote of Prabhupada where he was clearly mentioning his heart's desire is to distribute Prabhupada books, his books. So this is also one of my desire. So you should try to distribute books as much as possible.
Yes, Gurudev.
This will please me.
Yes, Gurudev. I will surely do it.
Yes, please try
Please
to do.
give me blessings, Gurudev.
Yeah, my blessings are there. And Prabhupada is also, Prabhupada blessings are also there. Okay.
Now here is the temple president of that particular center. So Krishnadas has so Krishnadas will face a contradictory situation in terms of instructions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Oh, Hare
Vansha
Krishna. I will prove Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. How are you?
Fine.
How is your devotion service going on?
By mercy of my Guru Maharaj, everything is going
Oh,
right.
very nice. I am not able to see since 2 days where you are going.
Oh, my Guru Maharaj has given me a special instruction to distribute books,
Oh,
which ultimately please Prabhupada.
oh, like this. I was not aware of it. But anyway, but I was thinking that our temple is in need of devotees. So I saw you presenting many Krishna conscious topics very nicely. So I was thinking that if you can go in our local colleges and can preach this Krishna conscious message and bring some devotees, so it will be very nice to manage our temples and preach more vigorously. So I was thinking that so you can help us camps in various colleges and preach youths about this.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, I will go.
Hare Krishna.
What to do now?
Like this, Krishnadas followed the order of temple president, his local authority, and then he was spending his full time during this service of youth preaching. Now again, after 3 months, the Guru Maharaj of Krishnadas visits, and let's see what is the scenario.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Oh, Guru
Krishna,
Maharaj,
Hare Hare.
please accept my humble obeisances.
Krishnadas, how the service is going on? Book distribution.
Please forgive me, Guru Maharaj. I could not do a book distribution.
Any reason?
I am engaged in youth preaching, Guru Maharaj.
Oh. But you also know my desire.
Yes,
It's
Maharaj.
written in Shastras. Prabhupada is also mentioning again. The success of spiritual life is to please make the spiritual master's desire or instruction life and soul. So how you are doing other service? What our spiritual master, your spiritual master is desiring from you? Is there any reason behind that?
No, Guru Maharaj.
Let's try again to do that same distribution.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Like this, Krishnadas became very afraid, thinking that he has offended his spiritual master so much, but he was very much confused because he could not find out the balance, whose instruction to follow. Is it local authority or his guru? But then now we will show what is the appropriate situation. That also we have to. So now we'll show what is the appropriate situation, how Krishnadas deals with this contradiction between the local authority and his guru. So once what is happening, temple president of that ISKCON center and the guru, His Holiness, they are sitting in one room discussing some topic, and fortunately Krishnadas also enters at that time only.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance at your lotus
Please
feet.
accept my blessings. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna.
So the service is going on in temple.
By your mercy, we are able to take care of everyone.
Nice, nice. How prasadam is
But,
Going
Prasadam quality is very nice.
okay.
Every
Okay,
Sunday we are
nice.
keeping feast.
Okay. Okay. Oh, this. Acha,
Maharaj,
he's my disciple only. How are you? Krishnas.
Maharaj, I wanted to say something about your temple.
Yeah.
He's nice devotee. He's practicing spiritual principles very nicely. He's very strict in his devotional practices, and he chants his rounds in morning only and performs his services very wonderfully.
Oh, could you explain some services he's mentioned?
I given him services regarding youth service, so he's doing very nice in that. So
Are you interested, or are you very much proficient in doing that, or you want to do some other service? You are liking the service given by local authority? Really, it's very nice, good fortune that you are having.
Maharaj, one thing I wanted to mention that he was saying that I am not able to manage properly because he was saying that I have too many services regarding book distributions and this also, and in terms also many DT wake-up services and DT dressing services. So I was concerned about him that how he will be able to manage his spiritual life nicely because he is not able to take sleep properly. So I was thinking that if we can discuss how he can do services more effectively and in a healthy way, taking care of his health also. So
Yeah, actually, this may be the reason. Actually, once I mentioned him to do proper book distribution and do DT Seva other than his own local services given. So I will clearly here mention that actually his sole purpose is to please the local authority because they are ultimately following the GBC, and we are here to inspire you all to follow the authority and Prabhupada and guide you all. So you give focus on what local authority wants from you, and if you still get the time, you try to distribute book, and not compromising your health and your sadhana and services others.
Maharaj,
Like-
I have one suggestion. If you wish, I can tell.
Yeah, sure, please.
Maharaj, I was thinking that if like he goes on Sunday and Saturday to preach, so I was thinking that if you wish, he can go for book distribution once a week. That will be nice. He can do book distribution and youth preaching also.
Yeah,
if you
sure,
want-
happily. And still, if a situation scenario comes where some other priorities need to be taken care, so local authority is our what GBC is aligned with. So you should surely give priority to that. Okay, please. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your guidance. Hare Krishna.
Like this, Krishna Das, he clarified his situation with both local authority and his guru while they were there present, and then he sought the guidance, he seek guidance, and then he could find the right conduct. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so what did we learn? How do we deal with these conflicting situations between managerial and spiritual authorities? Somebody could say? Was that? Yes, clarifying between? Yes, so by clarification between both authorities, then one can come to a proper conclusion. Okay, so there's an entire GBC paper here on page number 76, harmonizing ISKCON's lines of authority. So this is compulsory as a part of the course to go through this whole paper. Of course, we don't have time to read the entire thing over here, but it's highly recommended that you go through this entire paper. Okay, so kindly read the whole thing. We will just read an important part of it. So you can go to page number 77. Somebody can read the 2 lines of authority.
2 lines of authority. Since every devotee accepts his or her spiritual inspiration from higher authorities, 2 lines of authority with their representatives exist within ISKCON. One is seen as primarily spiritual, while the other is seen as primarily managerial. Both lines of authority serve their own unique yet interdependent purposes in submission to the orders of our founder Acharya.
Okay, so that's the important word, interdependent. Both are interdependent. They are not like totally independent.
Both are authorized by the GBC to give shelter to devotees under their care. The shelter is given through both instruction and example.
Yes, shelter is given through both instruction and example. That's another important point.
By
So
distinguishing
it's not just instruction, but the example also should be there. That's what inspires.
authority in these terms as primarily spiritual or primarily managerial, we are not suggesting that managerial authority is contrary to spiritual authority. Nor are we suggesting that the spiritual line of authority is somehow more privileged or intrinsically more pure. Management is also a spiritual activity. It is Krishna's establishment. In our preaching work, we deal with so much property and money and so many books bought and sold. But because these dealings all pertain to the Krishna consciousness movement, they should never be considered material. That one is absorbed in thoughts of such management does not mean that he is outside of Krishna consciousness. If one rigidly observes the regulative principle of chanting 16 rounds of the Mahamantra every day, his dealings with the material world for the sake of spreading the Krishna consciousness movement are not different from the spiritual cultivation of Krishna consciousness.
Okay, so that's again an important statement. If one rigidly observes the regulative principle of chanting 16 rounds every day, then his dealings with the material worlds are not different from spiritual cultivation. Because that chanting is what keeps the spiritual consciousness in all our activities. So even though there may be apparently material activities, but because we are performing our proper chanting and our sadhana, then while performing even these activities, it will be on the spiritual platform because we will be in spiritual consciousness. That's what's important. I made it blank from here, so. Okay, go ahead.
In a spiritual society, a manager cannot fulfill his or her duty to manage simply by declaring and enforcing rules. The rules themselves must have a spiritual foundation, and their implementation and enforcement must be applied in accordance with Vaishnava principles. Managers who serve this understanding will generally carry the full weight of spiritual authority as between spiritual and managerial. But there is also some difference. And understanding this simultaneous oneness and difference requires the use of these two distinct terms with their explanations.
Okay, fine. So the rest of it you can read. We'll just go to the last one, page number 84. Somebody else read the summary.
To promote the full flourishing of devotees' spiritual life, Srila Prabhupada created for ISKCON a managerial structure with clear line of authority. Every member of ISKCON should respect this structure and learn to work within it. The goal of managerial structure is spiritual, to facilitate the spiritual advancement of ISKCON's member through association with devotees, opportunity for service, and effective preaching strategies. Simultaneously, ISKCON affirms the fundamental importance of accepting initiation. Importance, of course, is our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, who is the initiating spiritual master of many devotees in ISKCON and the foremost instructing spiritual master of every devotee. Now and in the future, also important are the many initiating and instructing spiritual master now serving in ISKCON. All spiritual masters and their disciples should likewise appreciate the importance of many managers in our society who help, guide, and train disciples and oversee the facilities ISKCON provides for their spiritual advancement. All spiritual masters and their disciples should work cooperatively within ISKCON's managerial system, both to benefit themselves and benefit themselves spiritually and to help the society flourish. This cooperative, mutually respectful spirit is the best way to preserve the society's unity.
Okay, so that's the important statement. This cooperative, mutually respectful spirit is the best way to preserve the society's unity. Please, Srila Prabhupada, and expand the Sankirtan mission. Good.
In the mood of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada desired that the Sankirtan movement be spread all over the world, to every town and village. He demonstrated that desire by his constant traveling, writing, and speaking. He requested his disciple to open centers far and far wide. and distribute his books, arrange for attractive festivals, distribute prasad, etc. It was Srila Prabhupada's desire that ISKCON continue to expand to rise as benediction moon of Lord Chaitanya's mercy. It is for this purpose that Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON as a spiritual institution with a managerial structure. The purpose of this structure is to maintain the standards he established, to offer shelter and spiritual nourishment to the devotees, and to support and increase the Sankirtan mission. To please Srila Prabhupada by delivering the mercy of Sri Sri Gaur Nitai to the conditioned souls, everyone within ISKCON, spiritual master, disciples, and managers alike, should work cooperatively with this structure.
Okay, so ultimately the principle is of cooperation, and you can read the rest of it, but then the disciples also should be cooperative. So sometimes disciples tend to be a little having some material desires or something, tend to be a little political. And so if they get a favorable instruction from the guru, take the guru's side, or if a favorable instruction from the temple management, take their sides. And so then it creates big problems. So therefore, the disciples also should be in a very cooperative mood to see that everything is functioning smoothly. And so the best thing, as presented in the skit, is proper clarification from the authorities, and then the disciples work accordingly. So that's important. Okay, now on page 24. Okay, before that, let's read a quote from Prabhupada. Okay, read this.
When they say that don't like ISKCON and the GBC, they are really saying they don't like to follow my order.
What? What are you saying?
When they say they don't like ISKCON and the GBC, they are and GBC, they are really saying they don't like to follow my order. That means they don't like my order. That means they don't have faith in my order. That means they don't have faith in me. That means Guru Aprad. To say they have faith in me is just hypocrisy.
Okay, so fine. So this is a well-known incident. It is there in Prabhupada Lilamrit. It's quoted from the Lilamrit. So this is in Hawaii. So in Hawaii, there was a group of devotees, sort of splinter group, who didn't want to follow the GBC. And of course, they were following Srila Prabhupada's teachings in general, but then they didn't want to follow the local GBC, and they were doing their own things. So when Srila Prabhupada, he came to Hawaii to discuss this issue, and so he called both the groups. So there was the splinter group and there was the proper ISKCON's group, the managers there. And so he called both the groups. And so then the splinter group, they said, Srila Prabhupada, we love you. We are ready to follow your teachings, but we cannot follow the local GBC. And this was Prabhupada's response to that. So Prabhupada said, when they say they don't like ISKCON and the GBC, they are really saying they don't like to follow my order. So they are saying, oh, we like you, Prabhupada, we like to follow your instructions. Prabhupada is saying, my order is to follow the GBC. They say, no, we don't want to follow that. And Prabhupada says, what does it mean? So it means that you don't want to follow me. So that means they don't have faith in my order. That means they don't have faith in me. That means Guru Aprad. So to say they have faith in me is just hypocrisy. So what? So they're saying we have faith in you, Prabhupada. But what is Prabhupada saying? Follow the GBC. No, that we don't want. So it's hypocrisy. So therefore, if we say we love Prabhupada, So we find sometimes this category of devotees who keep saying, oh Jai Prabhupada, oh, so much love for Prabhupada. Okay, follow his instructions? No. What does it mean? It makes no sense. So if we really want to show our love for Srila Prabhupada, then we need to follow his instructions. That's our expression of love. So simply making a big show of loyalty and love has no meaning without following instructions. So Srila Prabhupada wanted the cooperative behavior with the management, and he wanted following the GBC and his various instructions. So only when we follow those instructions, then we are actually showing our love for Srila Prabhupada. Okay, fine. So now you have another question there on page number 24. So list some of the benefits of accepting Diksha and Shiksha Gurus within ISKCON. Think of some of the benefits of accepting Diksha and Shiksha within ISKCON.
We become a part of institution which was established by one of the Senapati Bhaktas of Lord Chaitanya.
Okay, fine. Okay, so we become part of this. Okay, fine. What else? What are the benefits?
We get properly connected to bona fide sampradaya.
Okay, proper connection to the bona fide sampradaya. Okay, shelter of the society, shelter of the Vaishnavas within the society.
The teachings will be in line, like Shiksha Guru will.
Okay, yes, teachings in line with the parampara.
Case that particular spiritual master or Siksha Guru may fall down from his position, we have shelter, other shelter.
Yes, that's right. So if Shiksha and Gurus fall off from the society, then we still have shelter of other Vaishnavas.
ISKCON is properly representing the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
And we can very easily get the love of water.
Yes, yes. That's why Srila Prabhupada wanted everyone to stick to ISKCON, never leave ISKCON, because this is the moment of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and one can definitely achieve full perfection by remaining in the moment and following the instructions. Okay, so what should be one's attitude towards other Vaishnav Sampradayas? What should be one's attitude?
We should have respect toward them, but we must stick to Prabhupada.
Yes, we respect them, but we follow Prabhupada's instructions. So that's, I think, so that's the bottom line there. So that's a quote here. Somebody read.
Better you should stick to hearing from authorized brothers, but never try to hear someone who is not in our line. It is simply a waste of time to hear and then again have to rectify the mistake.
There are two instances where Srila Prabhupada clearly emphasized this. One is in 1967 when Srila Prabhupada was coming to India, and so some disciples asked Srila Prabhupada, can we take guidance from your God brothers? Prabhupada, it mentions that Prabhupada actually deliberated on that for a day, and next day Srila Prabhupada said no. And then Prabhupada gave the reason, and he said, if they speak even one word different from what I have spoken, there will be confusion. So therefore Prabhupada didn't say that. And then that was the same thing which Prabhupada also told to Bhakticharu Maharaj, when Bhakticharu Maharaj went to meet Narayan Maharaj and Akinsha Krishnadas. So Prabhupada never encouraged that, because there could be confusions. Srila Prabhupada had a specific mood of preaching and expanding the mission, and so therefore very important for us to follow that mood of Srila Prabhupada, and so not get deviated from that by reading other books even within the Gaudiya tradition. So therefore, we are emphasizing the points that we should stick to Srila Prabhupada's books and lectures. Every other book or any other book, if required, should only act as reference books. Otherwise, it will lead to confusion. This has happened within our society over the years many times, and history keeps repeating itself. So therefore, we have to be extremely careful. Even within the Gaudiya tradition, if we read other books, there's every possibility of getting confused. Therefore, that should always be the standards. Okay, read.
Please avoid them.
You read, no? Give somebody else.
Please avoid them. I have now issued orders that all my disciples should avoid all of my court brothers. They should not have any dealing with them, nor even correspondence. Nor should they give them any of my books, or should they purchase any of their books. Neither should you visit any of their temples. Please avoid them.
Okay, so that was quite a strict instruction in reference to the context at that time. Of course, visiting the temples is not a problem, but then reading books is definitely a problem. Pass on. Give to those who have not read.
He may be treated as guest. If he comes to our center, give him prasadam, honor him as an old elder Vaishnava, but he cannot speak or lecture. If he wants to lecture, you can tell him that is there is already another speaker scheduled. That's all.
Right? So that's something very practical. So that's how we deal with, if at all some Vaishnavas from other Sampradayas or some other organizations, if they come, they may be elderly, senior, whatever. So that's how we deal with them. Okay, so we honor them, we respect them, offer prasad, but no speaking. Because then it influences the hearers and confuses them. So therefore, no speaking. Somebody else?
If a disciple thinking himself more advanced than his spiritual master gives up his order and acts independently, he checks his own spiritual progress. Every disciple must consider himself completely unaware of the signs of Krishna and must always be ready to carry out the orders of the spiritual master to become competent in Krishna consciousness. A disciple always remain in fool before his spiritual master.
Yes, so that's the proper attitude, that the disciple thinks he's a fool before the spiritual master, and so he doesn't act independently. Otherwise, he checks his own spiritual progress. So that's how we deal with Vaishnavas outside of ISKCON. Okay, fine. So that's this lesson. Any questions?
Can you please give some light on this book distribution? The Prabhupada told that you should not distribute my books to the God builders. There was mentioned. So this like Ritvik is there. So I saw him also. I saw them that they also distribute Prabhupada book. So from where they getting so many means like.
No, that's they're getting the books and they're distributing. It's fine. They're distributing Prabhupada books. It's fine. What's the problem?
Like they are not following the teachings properly.
That's their problem. But whoever gets Prabhupada's book will be benefited. It's after all Prabhupada's book.
Or in the same way that God, their God brothers also means Like if they will get Prabhupada book, then what they will do?
See, that letter seems to be very much contextual. It's in with reference to some specific incident that happens. And so therefore, Prabhupada is saying that over there. It's not visiting temples, not. But in general, it's fine. Any other question? Seems everyone is tired by now. Okay, fine, no problem. So we will continue our discussions tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.